Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of December 22nd. You start with this card. It says Unfolding Beauty. It says everything is unfolding as it should. Surrender and live in the unexpected. You have this Blessed Ideas card. It says allow your ideas to come to fruition and they will bring many blessings. And you're an air sign, obviously, so I think that your ideas are going to be on fire for the next many years to come, especially with Uranus and Gemini, but also Pluto and Aquarius, very good for ideas, innovative ideas, new things, new plans, new goals, new everything. And, all that will be very good for you, Libra. So I would be trusting those ideas, especially the ones that you download. These could be like in dreams and daydreams. I think also what you have to think about is Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries next year. That could bring in it's like those first gut instinct ideas, those things that like just randomly pop into your head. And it could be about anything, just any random inspiration that comes your way. You're going to want to follow those inspirations because they could lead to, who the hell knows what, Libra, greatness, good stuff, right? So this reading looks pretty good for you, I would say. You have the King of Cups, the Emperor, and the Strength card in the area of your current general energies. You have the King and Queen of Cups, and you have the Two of Cups in between them, and the Knight of Cups at the end of that. So if you're looking for love, definitely could be a very strong connection. King and Queen of Cups usually is a very strong, emotional, deep connection. So for those of you that are looking for love, definitely could be a new person. I would definitely keep an eye on your emotions. It's funny because I think I told you last week that this week, today, I don't know what today is. Today is the 17th, so the week of the 15th or whatever it was. I told you that Monday and Tuesday of this week, if you're watching it early, the week of the 15th, was a little bit weird for you, Libra. I think I told you that to be careful of Monday and Tuesday in general. And that energy probably passed pretty quickly. So you probably are feeling a lot better already, if you're watching this on Thursday, when I publish it on the 18th. But again, even though I do feel things are a lot better, and like I told you, it's probably only those 2 days, I would still be careful of getting swept up into things emotionally. Again, if you're watching this early, before the 22nd, great, definitely pay attention. Even if you're watching this the week of the 22nd, King of Cups isn't bad, and actually there's a very simple solution. The solution to the King of Cups is to not drown in your emotion. So it says if you feel a weird emotion, feel it, explore the emotion, figure it out. I don't think we should hide from our emotions or anything like that. But it's once you processed it, either let it go or use it constructively. I'm a big fan of using our emotions in a constructive way, and as long as you do that, you'll be fine. You have the Emperor. Again, I think the Emperor is going to come up quite a bit for you over the next many years, Libra. I do feel a lot of you are kind of stepping up, taking the lead. I think you're going to find, I even think this card is saying that you will surprise yourself over the next many years, not even just right now. But and what I mean by surprise yourself is you might be surprised at what you say yes to, for example, over the next many years, which I do feel is good for you. He is the card of taking advantage of random opportunity. He is sitting on his throne, and he has his armor on, but he's sitting down. The armor kind of represents the fact that he's willing to take an opportunity at a moment's notice. So whenever an opportunity presents itself, he takes it. And so I feel for a lot of you that you could be taking advantage of opportunities very quickly. You have the Strength card. Strength can be patience or being patient. Strength is about inner strength as well. This lion right here represents your inner voice or your inner critic. She is taking control of her inner voice or her inner critic. And so I feel for a lot of you that you could be taking control of your inner voice with the Strength card. And, that would be a good thing. I'm pretty sure all 3 air signs this week had the Strength card. So, it does seem like a good time to take control of your inner voice and to listen to yourself. I would go a little bit deeper than that, though, Libra. We go up here to the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups, she listens to her inner voice and everything, but she listens to her heart more than anything. And, that could also be why we have the King of Cups here, because the King of Cups is about processing your emotions. Queen of Cups, to be able to listen to her heart, she has to process her emotions, right? So, I think following your heart is good as well. With the King of Cups, you have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, I actually feel pretty good about this. Normally, I don't like the Nine of Wands in a love reading, for example, because it can represent someone who's too guarded. But it's kind of funny that, the Nine of Wands is clarifying the King of Cups, and we have the Nine of Wands over here with the Queen of Cups. So, but I kind of feel like you could be attracting someone that's healed, and like you are also healed. It's kind of like both people are at that point where they're willing to try love again. So if you're looking for love, I feel like you're going to be maybe trying again here. And I also feel you could be attracting a person that is kind of like, been through maybe some of the same things, and now they're willing to try again as well. I don't really feel water here. It could be a water sign, but, I think it could be any sign, really. I'm not like, it could be one of the fixed signs, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, or a Leo, or a Sagittarius with the Wheel of Fortune here. It could really be any sign that's coming in for you. With the Emperor, you have the Lovers. There you go. Definitely could be love coming in for you if you want it. For those of you, for all of you, whether you want love or not, I do feel, again, that your readings are going to talk about love a lot, but not as in a person, right? Again, we're talking about that heart-based energy and like falling in love with life again. Sometimes I think that with a star, your outcome card, your last card is the star card. And, the star card is about having a North Star, having that shining light, something that you work towards. But sometimes I think the star is about like diving deep into that pool that's in front of her. She needs to make the full commitment to a project or, an idea, or, it could be anything. It could be your health or your mindset or, a daily routine. It could be something you want to work on. Whatever it is, I would make sure that you're kind of like in love with the things that you're creating, because it'll probably make things better. Here you go. With the Strength card, you have the Sun, which is amazing. The Sun makes the whole entire reading more positive. So definitely could be a lot of happiness and joy coming in for you. The Sun also really wants us to pay attention to our attention. That kind of popped into my head at the beginning of the reading. We were talking on that Blessed Ideas card about you trusting those like first gut instincts. And again, I don't really know that this is like accurate astrology, but I don't know. Saturn and Neptune in your opposite sign in Aries. It's like Neptune and Aries especially, it's going to be that like split second intuition, like your very first feeling on pretty much anything that you're doing, right? And so, anything, any decision, choice, whatever, it's like your gut instinct, that first feeling is probably going to be the feeling that is correct. So, I kind of feel like the Sun is saying pay attention to your attention. Whatever your attention is focused on, it could be important. And it could be very random. Again, it's like sometimes I think the best way to think about intuition is to be an airhead, basically, right? It's like sometimes I wonder if that's why I'm so intuitive, because I'm a total airhead, if you haven't realized that. But it's like I zone out a lot. I don't think about things a lot. I'm just kind of like in the clouds, right? But I think that is when I get my best intuitive hits, when I'm not really thinking, when I'm not really focused on anything. I'm just kind of zoning out, right? And, I think in those moments where you're just like daydreaming or staring out the window or looking at the snow or whatever you're doing, or you're in the shower, right? That's another good place. That's when the ideas will kind of like download. Next, in the area of your very near future, or no, what's coming in for you, you have this card. It says your luck will change soon, which is great. You have this Green Man. It says the forces of nature favor you. Yeah, you have the Wheel of Fortune as well, which can definitely represent a change in your luck. So I do feel there could be a lot of like lucky improvements coming in for you, or like, I don't know that I would call them lucky breakthroughs, but because the problem that we have right now is that we have Uranus in Taurus until April. Uranus in Taurus is not really lucky, but it is very lucky at the same time. And you might be saying that makes no sense, and you would kind of be right, but at the same time, Uranus in Taurus wants us to create our own luck. That's why it's not lucky. We have like another record high lottery right now, over $1 billion. It's like because of Uranus and Taurus. Literally at the beginning of Uranus and Taurus, I talked about this all the time. I used to talk about how we will see record high lottery numbers because it's not lucky. And really, that's not even true. It just wants us to build things permanent. Uranus and Taurus doesn't like get rich quick, doesn't like the lottery, stuff like that. And so we have to like create our own luck, and I feel like that's what you're doing here. You have the Two of Cups, the Seven of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. Two of Cups could be a perfect match. So again, love looks really good for you air signs at the end of the year here. If you're looking for love, Two of Cups usually starts with communication. Not always true, but for the most part, you could be talking to a new person, and it could go from there. Two of Cups is usually different than your usual type as well, so could be attracting someone different. You have the Seven of Swords. I feel like you need more play. You have the Sun. The Sun, we have this child right here, and we have this wall behind the child, which is the wall we all put up against our inner child. Like, there are things that we don't do anymore because we are adults. Well, like, why not, right? So the Seven of Swords has these polka dots on his cloak. Polka dots in the tarot they represent needing to not take things too seriously, needing to be more playful. I'm really focused on that on this card. I also am getting something about like needing to be willing to kind of like play the game, or needing to be willing to be an actor, basically. And that doesn't mean that you're being fake, right? It's like I don't really have any good examples, but I work with a lot of YouTubers. I teach YouTube as well, and a lot of the times, like, I'll see people that, like, aren't willing to be animated on camera, and they think that they all say the same thing to me, basically, I've noticed, where they think there's something wrong with it. I'm like, well, there's only something wrong with it if you're faking it, if you're not being who you really are. It's like, you don't have to be crazy over the top, but, emphasizing things is a good thing. And it's like, yeah, there are going to be people that don't like it, but you have to get over it, right? And so that's kind of what I feel with the Seven of Swords, is that, like, there's something about, and I kind of feel like this could be in work for you here, Libra. Like, again, I'm not encouraging you to be fake or anything like that, but I am encouraging you to play the game. I'm encouraging you to have fun. It's kind of like same thing in love. Like, I have people all the time that tell me, like, I'm sick and tired of the games. I'm like, yeah, but games are fun. What you're talking about isn't a game. You're talking about jerks, right? It's like, we should look at dating as a game. We should look at it as fun. Who doesn't want to have fun, right? We have to be very careful with our words. And, maybe that's why dating is such a mess. I don't know, if you're out here on these streets, you probably know it's a disaster, right? So what I would say is, it's like, no, people who do jerky things, those aren't games. That they're being jerks, like I said. So, I think dating should be a game. It should be fun. Like, why would you want it to be serious? Like, I've never been in a relationship and been like, oh, I'm so glad that got so serious, right? I don't think anyone has ever said that. So, it should be fun. And I feel like the Seven of Swords is saying, have fun. You have the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune can be you changing your luck. Again, the easy way to do that with the Wheel of Fortune, there's actually two easy ways, actually three easy ways. The first one is to double down on what's already working in your life. That's how we get the wheel to spin forward. The second one is to live at the center of the wheel. When we live at the center of the wheel, good things and bad things will always happen in life. When bad things happen, we take care of them very quickly. Most people hide from their issues. Wheel of Fortune says don't. And when good things happen, again, we double down on those good things. The third thing we can do is face fears. We have this snake on the side of the wheel. Snakes are guardians of portals, and snakes represent fear. So usually, if there's something in life that we want that we don't have, it's because of some sort of fear or a blockage that we have. So working on those things is how we change our fortunes with the Wheel of Fortune. I always say I love the Wheel of Fortune, but again, sometimes I think people make it out to be like a lot easier than it is. It's a good card. It's a very good card. Don't get me wrong, but it is an action card for sure. With the Two of Cups, you have the Page of Pentacles. Definitely could be a new person. Could be an Earth sign. Could have Earth in their chart or something as well. Like I said, I really don't feel a sign. So, could be different for all of you. But definitely could be a new person. Page of Pentacles represents like learning a new person. So, I think this is like two people who are going to be learning each other if you're looking for love. With the Seven of Swords, you have the Ten of Wands. Yeah, I don't know. I literally said to Aquarius, the first sign I read for today, that it is like a Ten of Wands time for air signs. I don't really think this is good. I don't think it's bad either. I just feel that air signs are processing the past obligations. And so you might be processing things that you are realizing you don't have to do anymore that are just kind of like weighing you down. Again, it's not really good or bad. It just, it is what it is. And, but I do feel good about it. Obviously, if you lighten the load, if you make things easier, then your life will get easier. So that's what I would do with that Ten of Wands. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Two of Swords. Two of Swords, like this or that thinking. Two of Swords, she's thinking this or that. She needs to get to this island behind her. That island behind her represents like a third place or a third place solution. And so she, needs to realize there are other ways of doing things. Again, this is going to be very important over the many years to come with Uranus and Gemini. Uranus and Gemini is all about finding third place solutions. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this message in a bottle card and this come to the edge card. Yes, we talked about how, you might be receiving messages right now, and this will probably be true for the next few years at least. But I think Neptune will be in Aries for a long time, but I think that after a few years you'll get used to it and you'll understand the energy. But like right now, I think you have to do it on purpose, where you get a message and you take action, or you have some random idea and you do something about it. You don't just say, oh, that can't work, right? There could be a lot of those moments where you get an inspiration and you're like, oh, there's no way that could work. You need to do it anyway, is what I would say. The Come to the Edge card is about pushing yourself to that point where you would normally give up on something and then like going one step further. If you do that, you will find success with the Come to the Edge card. You have the Queen of Cups, the Nine of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. Queen of Cups is about following your heart. She values her heart above all else here, Libra. And, this cup right here represents her heart, basically. And so I think that healing your heart with the King of Cups so that you can listen to your heart is kind of the secret here of this reading. Really tapping into that energy will be very good for you. I would kind of like heal first, with the King of Cups. You have the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is the Wounded Warrior, of course, but he is not giving up. Again, I do feel this is kind of like, number one, a very common vibe for you air signs right now. I don't think you are going to give up on anything. So, that's the good news for sure. But I do kind of feel, especially for you with Saturn and Aries moving back into Aries, they've already been in Aries, by the middle of February, basically. It's really going to encourage you to take another swing at something. The other thing that's popping into my head for you, Libra, as well, is we have Mars in Capricorn. And, I just wonder, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. And, Mars likes being in Capricorn. So, you could even right now be feeling like you want to take action on something. Again, even I'm going to publish this on the 18th of December. So if you're watching it early, and if you're thinking about taking action on something you've already tried before, I do think it would be a good time for you to do that. Like I said, if you want love as well, just as a side note, this is two people that are healing. It's like two people who are willing to open up again. So if you haven't healed and you want love, I would take the time to heal this week, because that will probably help bring love into your life. You have the Queen of Wands. I literally just said to Gemini, I think all air signs are going to be encouraged to be more bold and assertive moving forward. It's like a good time for you to like really charge towards things that you want to create or do or be or have. She follows the sun. She has the sunflower right here. We talked about the sun being your attention, but it's like your attention is going to be drawn to things very, very quickly, and you're going to have to take action quickly. It's like if you think too much about something, you're not going to do it, right? And if you just do it, I think you will do it. So, I think she's talking about like taking action very quickly. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Judgment card. Yeah, a lot of answers could be coming in for you here at the end of the year as well. So not just this week, or is this the last week of the year? I'm not sure, but whatever. I don't know. I can't do math. I failed math my whole entire life, so I think like it ends next week, right after the week of the 22nd. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But the Judgment card, I feel at the end of the year here, is going to be answers coming in for you. And again, this is your higher self angel. So this could be those intuitive messages that you're receiving that you need to listen to. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Knight of Wands. Nine of Wands is an amazing card for experimentation. Nine of Wands is my card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. The Knight of Wands, he is willing to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. So an amazing combination for you. I think experimentation, of course, is going to be very good for you. Pluto and Aquarius, Uranus and Gemini, they love experimentation. They both love innovation. They both love trying new things. So, both those placements are going to really help you a lot. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Seven of Swords again. So being more playful with life, right? When you think about it, to be innovative and to innovate things in general, we have to be. That is playfulness. When you think about it, you're playing with an idea. You're seeing how things could go. And so the Queen of Wands, she doesn't really have a good reason for why she's going on a journey. She's just saying to herself, I want to do this, this journey with my life. people in her life might be calling her crazy. I think it's no mistake that you have this black cat card that says your luck will change soon. How will your luck change? Well, she has a black cat right here. The black cat on the Queen of Wands says that, during the times of tarot, black cats were considered very unlucky, but she doesn't care. She just likes a black cat. The whole point of her black cat is she doesn't listen to what people say. So it's like your luck is going to come from listening to yourself here, Libra, and through being bold and like not needing the feedback from other people. It's like I've noticed a lot of people, they kind of like need a person to say, oh yeah, that's a good idea, right? So this is about listening to yourself, and that's how your luck will probably change. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this card that says a fiery climax approaches. You have this card that says hold your vision. Yes, definitely with the sun and the star coming up in this reading, holding your vision is going to be important. Definitely could be a very fiery connection because, you start with this Knight of Cups, and sure, you could say this is a water sign, but still could be a very, a lot of sparks going on here if you're meeting a new person. Knight of Cups can be a knight in shining armor, so definitely could be a good connection coming in for you if you want love. You have two cards next, Judgment and the Knight of Swords, so Judgment twice in your reading. And how funny is that you have the Knight of Swords? Knight of Swords in the good stuff is like doing something quickly. So again, I feel that even this week, you could be getting a lot of messages or having those like sparks of inspiration or just a sudden insight, and I would be acting on those sudden insights. Again, I talk about this a lot. I used to get questions a lot from people where they would say, I was thinking about an idea and I saw 333 on the clock, and then I saw repeating numbers all day long. I'm like, yeah, it's like that's the universe being like, let's get going here. That's major confirmation. And so those people would say, is that a sign? I'm like, yeah, how many more signs do you need? It's like the universe is tapping its foot, being like, how many more times do I have to tell you to do this, right? So whatever you're thinking about, Libra, take swift action with that Knight of Swords. You will be happy that you did. You have the star. The star is about having a North Star. In the good stuff, it definitely is a very good card for Libra because, it can represent hope, faith, and renewal. Those are all words that Libra likes. So, I think it's like a very peaceful energy that I'm getting off of the star. The sun and the star can represent fame and fortune. And again, I've said, I'm going to keep saying it as well, that, Pluto and Aquarius, amazing time for those of you that want to stand out. So, if you have a job in social media, if you have a public facing job, if you need to get attention for something, really good time for air signs to do that. With the Knight of Cups, you have the Ace of Cups. It's like big love coming in for you here. If you don't want love, and even if you do, Ace of Cups can be really good for just following your heart as well, just like the Queen of Cups. The Ace of Cups is about doing something that causes you to overflow. With the Knight of Swords and the Judgment card, you have the Magician. Yeah, this is about manifestation, so you're probably manifesting a lot of answers. I always pull the card he's pointing to. We're going to say it's, well, sure, we'll take both. Why not? You have this card. It says, clean it up. You have this card. It says, to the sea. Yeah, time to take action. The cleanup, by the way, I think for you it's very clear that you should be cleaning up your environment. I'm not just basing this off of this reading. I'm basing it off all the readings that I do for you, Libra. I think that the number one most important thing that's come up for like years for you is that your environment, the energy around you, the people you surround yourself with, the things that you do, that is your environment, right? The environment you create for yourself is going to be very important. The To the Sea card, again, we have to try new things. Everybody has to do this. Air signs definitely have to be doing new things or trying new things. That's where your success will come from. With the Star, you have the Strength card. Yep, Strength again. So working on your inner strength, developing confidence, all those themes have been coming up for air signs. So I do think it would be a good time for you to develop confidence or whatever. Next, you have this Bread card. It says purity of prosperity and abundance. Love it. Definitely could be abundance. You have this Beetle. It says good fortune on it. Yes, we see a lot of good fortunes with the Wheel of Fortune. I gave you 3 ways that you can use that Wheel of Fortune energy, and you're definitely going to have to do it. Again, it's not going to magically happen. Nothing just magically happens. You have this Carrot. It says opportunity or windfall. Yeah, I would be looking deeper. King of Cups, right? The carrot, this green garbage is growing up top, but the thing that we actually want is underground, right? And so King of Cups, we have to dive deep. Star, we can't just dip our toes in the water with the star. We have to go all the way. So definitely popping into my head with this card that you should be, anything that interests you right now, dig into it, look into it, research it, because, maybe right away it doesn't look like much, but if you dig deeper, you will discover more. You have this owl. It says, good advice from a wise person. Yeah, we are at the time of the mentor, so I've said this to you probably a million times. And anyone that you look up to, anyone you want to learn from, consume their information. It could be very helpful. You have this bird perch. It says, waiting for news, package, or letter. If you are waiting for news, it looks like a good reading for that because you have the Judgment card twice. And also the Knight of Swords can be a messenger. You actually have 3 knights. We consider knights to be messengers in the tarot. And so I definitely feel if you're waiting for news, you could be getting it. But damn, Libra, I like this for you. Looks really good. So thank you for being here. Make sure to like and leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.